I fall asleep under the trees. I follow where the current leads. Whispers in the woods, they call to me. Listen as the wind awakes the leaves. I leave the real world far behind as I investigate these wilds. Try to slow this chaos in my mind. I can feel the mountains come alive. It feels like my whole life I've been blind. Just a tiny spoke in this wheel of time.
Hey, you found it. Welcome to the Wellness Project Podcast. I am your host, Wilson, and you can reach me at the Wellness Project LLC at gmail.com. And let's get started. So, what is the podcast, right? That's the big question. We're going to be doing a lot of things, very multifaceted. A little introduction. I have been in mental health, the field that is, for about 15 years. I have my bachelor's in psychology and a master's in clinical mental health counseling. Over the years, man, I've worked in a variety of mental health settings, whether it be in home, in the office, private practice, worked in clinical hospitals, schools, and a government agency at one point. So with that, I think I do have some professional insight into the world of mental health. What else are we going to do? We're going to be doing interviews, of course, all types of interviews, other professionals in the field, maybe some personal stories of folks in their journey with mental health. And I'd like to maybe look at some scholarly articles in a more in-depth way. So you can expect that. But, one of the many reasons why I started this podcast is just to talk more about the stigma around mental health. And, I was looking at NAMI, it's the National Alliance on Mental Illness, and it's got some facts, of course, that I can share with you. So it says here, people experiencing mental health conditions often face rejection, bullying, and discrimination. It says here, this can make their journey to recover longer and even more difficult. Believe it or not, mental health conditions are the leading cause of disability across the United States. It doesn't matter, what type of person you are affected by mental health. Even though most people can be successfully treated, it says here that less than half of the adults in the U.S. who need services and treatment get the help that they actually need. Two more here. The average delay between the onset of symptoms and intervention is 8 to 10 years. This is a big one here. Suicide is the second leading cause of death of youth among 15 to 24, and the 10th leading cause of death for all Americans. Think about that for a minute. And yet no one's talking about it, but we will. So stick with us, and I welcome you to the Wellness Project Podcast. One of the things I was thinking about recently is this idea of like a big ego, like we've heard that before, whether this person has a big ego or not. But one of the things I think we don't really talk about are people that seem to have like a little ego or a low ego. I mean, how much of having a low ego or a little ego can that impact your life? That narrative that you're telling yourself. The ego plays a really important part in mental health in that your ego protects the inner child within you. It's that dialogue that you're constantly telling yourself. And I notice when I work with kids, adults too, but that story that you're telling yourself can be really detrimental to your mental health. I hear things like, I'm stupid, I'm not smart, I'm not good, I'm not worthy. All of that language, negative self-talk that is super toxic for you. Super toxic. And so this idea from the ego, I kind of want to transition a little bit, but stay on topic, is the difference between self-worth and self-esteem. I go over this constantly with people, and yeah, there's some literature out there that says that they can be interchangeable, but there's also a great deal of literature that goes into the differences between the two. So, which is more important, right? Is it self-esteem or self-worth? I tend to lean more towards self-worth being more important than self-esteem, only because I think self-worth leads to having self-esteem. So self-esteem is basically how you compare yourself to others, which can be healthy. I think there's a good sense of competition among, being better, being better, being better. But self-worth is how you feel about yourself. Okay, so self-esteem is how you compare yourself to others, and self-worth is how you feel about yourself. So, you can see where the ego plays into self-worth. The idea that the ego protects the inner child. So look at it kind of like your inner parent, if you will. And that dialogue that you're telling yourself is going to greatly impact your life. I found this article by Sam Wolf, and he does a pretty good job here of defining, self-esteem and self-worth. But what he really ties into is, let's see here, it says, self-esteem and self-worth are both necessary. Now, while self-worth, like I said, should act as a foundation, as your mental armor during difficult times, this doesn't mean that self-esteem is unnecessary or irrelevant. You can believe that you're lovable and good enough, but that's just one aspect of seeing things for how they really are. So they definitely do play off of each other, but you gotta love yourself first. I always ask people this kind of philosophical question of like, who in your life should love you the most? And I get a variety of acceptable answers. It's like your spouse, your parents, your mom, your dad. But I always bring it back and challenge people to say, I think you're wrong. And then they look back and then they, the light bulb goes off and they're like, me? And I'm like, yeah, like you need to start showing yourself self-love. It's super important. And we're going to keep going here and move on to some other topics.
The whole world was stretched out right before us. Or maybe that's just how it seemed. Still too young to know what lay before us. We were living in a dream. Those nights we rode around in my best friend's car, and we just couldn't stop laughing. Sang those songs at the top of our lungs, just waiting for something to happen. Oh, I still feel the beat in the back of my heart. Ooh, I still feel the beat in the back of my heart. Time ran on forever in both.
Well, if you're still listening, I do appreciate it. Like I said, this is kind of a demo podcast, just trying out some different, content. And I'm really excited to take this home and hopefully polish it up a little bit with some transitions and some music. But thank you for listening. And you can help spread the message by liking, sharing, emailing, or commenting. And I really do appreciate you listening. This thing wouldn't be possible without your support. So thanks. I would imagine that most of you have a sense of the basic ways to nurture mental wellness. We've got sleep, exercise, diet, your emotional health, your spiritual connection, sharing and caring. The list goes on, but let's kind of kick it up a notch here and look at some more advanced ways to maybe nurture mental wellness. One of the things that I have really gravitated towards is gaining gratitude by helping others. It's part of that, human experience where we are social creatures. We need to connect with others, and it feels good. It feels really, really good just to connect and to have gratitude by that. Those people that pay it forward at restaurants or just do random acts of kindness. Don't think that they're not getting something out of that. They're getting a lot, and it's super helpful for your mental health. Another one that I was thinking about recently was taking reasonable risks. Reasonable risks, right? I think we can probably go on and on and on about all the unhealthy, super high risk stuff that we could do. But what are those reasonable risks? Having a little faith in your own abilities and trying out things in small steps. You only need to get started, right? Another one I thought about was, taking time and organizing more seriously. If your house is a hot mess, you probably feel like a hot mess. And if you don't, maybe you're just not even aware or thinking that could be contributing to your mental health. So it's important to take time and to organize. When I talk with folks, I sort of go over, well, like how many hours are in a day? And they look at me kind of in a silly way and, well, 24, right? So does this other person that you're jealous or envious of, do they have more than 24 hours or do they have the same as you? To try to get people to realize that they have the same amount of time as everyone else. And I'm sure there's a listener out there. Well, Wilson, you don't know what I have on my plate. Yeah, that's true. And you don't know what I have on my plate. But we all have the same 24 hours. Maybe if you got up an hour earlier, you'd have an hour more of time. Or maybe if you were more organized and had things in order, you can get more out of that time. So let's see here. Actually sharing an authentic experience with someone. Gosh, like it feels good when you can put your guard down and be your authentic self with someone. We obviously have to wear many different hats, whether we're a parent or a professional or a friend or, a child, whatever. But the case is that, sometimes you kind of have to put a mask on and maybe not be your true authentic self. But those times that you do get to do that, it's really, really helpful. And that's a good one.
Hold each other close, walking in the rain. You were like a picture and I the frame. You were like the air and I a plane. Sleeping through the day, waking up at night, stealing every moment like it's a crime, making up a world that's yours and mine. Let's explore the city while it sleeps. Read each other's thoughts before we speak. There's a million people living here, but when you're near, everyone else disappears. There's a million places I could go.
Have you ever heard of Alex Rainbird? That's right, Alex Rainbird Music. You can find it on Spotify, YouTube. I'm sure it's pretty much anywhere. But I really, 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 really recommend that you go check out Alex Rainbird Music. It's the style would be like acoustic indie, sometimes popish, but I just love it, to be honest with you. I listen to Alex Rainbird music on a nightly basis. It's kind of how I nurture my own mental health. And what I really like is if you go to YouTube and just type in Alex Rainbird. That's right. Raibird. Believe it or not, that's the guy's, that's his real name. But he started this, I think about maybe 10 years ago, just putting together these playlists, and they really took off. he puts one out at least once a month. And they get up in that like 200, 300,000 views all across the world. And I like how he titles them. There's like a soft and cozy. There's like a nature one. It's got that kind of coffee house vibe to it. And it's kind of cool because a lot of the times, there are artists that I've never heard of before. So then it kind of, sends me down that YouTube hole where I'm, researching and looking at other songs by that artist. But if you get a chance, go check it out. Again, that's Alex Rainbird Music. By the way, at the Wellness Project, we have merchandise. That's right, all mental health awareness themed products. We've got artwork, we've got shirts, we've got hats, we've got candles. Who doesn't love a good, nice, smelling, fragrancy, cozy candle, right? There's going to be more candles coming. I'm trying to do like a mental health awareness line of candles. So we're going to have one for like anxiety awareness, depression awareness, wellness awareness, which is actually out right now. That's right. You can get your own wellness awareness candle. What does it smell like, right? You have to come in and check it out. But if you hit me up on Facebook, or you can email me and I can give you that information. And thank you for your support.
It's a bitter taste, it's a warning sign. But I'm a hurricane, I'm a blinding light. I'm lost in the day, I'm a ghost in the night. I get so tired, I can't sleep. 1,000 footsteps follow me. Do you believe things that you can't see? Is this feeling real or just a dream? It feels like my whole life I've been blind. Just a tiny spoke in this wheel of time. It's a bitter taste, it's a warning sign. But I'm a hurricane, I'm a blinding light. I'm lost in the day, I'm a ghost in the night. It feels like my whole life I've been blind. Just a tiny spoke in this wheel of time. It's a bitter taste, it's a warning sign. But I'm a hurricane, I'm a blinding light. I'm lost in the day, I'm a ghost in the night. Oh, I'm lost in the day, I'm a ghost in the night.